Hey everybody, I had mentioned about showing you guys some of the automations that I'm using with documenting FrontEnd Creator. What I'm using is Chrome, and within Chrome I'm just using their API so that I can kick off Chromeless, whether it's headless or the browser is being shown. I'm going to just go ahead and kick off my process just to show you guys what's happening. So basically what I've done is I've created some scripts that allow me to simulate or automate logging into FrontEnd Creator. And then there's several workflows that I've got. The one that we're going to be doing right now is just creating a new project. But as you can see, it's going through the whole process of logging in with a sample account, passing the username and password, as well as then it's going to stop at kind of like the home page. I'm going to have a pause here for like 15 seconds because I just want to toggle on the developer tools. I'm doing this because when the browser comes up, it actually offsets the height. So by kicking off the browser tools, it fixes it. You'll see that I actually am resetting now the resolution so that I can have it copy the screenshots at a specific resolution. And then it's just going through testing this new project that we just created. And it's going to go ahead and click on the preview and toggle the preview buttons just to make sure that's working. You'll also notice that you see a little icon. I added that as kind of some Chrome just to make sure it works. But you'll see here that it's gone through the whole process of creating everything. Which is pretty nice. And then after I think 10 seconds, it's going to go ahead and stop. I'm going to go ahead and kick it off now. But so that's pretty cool. And then if you come down here, you'll see that in this folder and in here, over here, you can see that it came up. We have a README file. This is the product of running that script. So if I actually want to preview it, you'll see that here is everything that script did with the screenshots that it took, walking you through every step that it went through. I find this to be extremely beneficial and extremely helpful for myself when I'm writing documentation as well as testing FrontEnd Creator, and it's something that I'm going to be exposing within FrontEnd Creator as I guess an automation, UI automation. I use it for documentation. I'm going to do one other thing here. I'm going to show you guys another feature that I'm working on, and this is has to do with not only automating pre-existing scripts, but maybe we want to go ahead and record our own. So let's go ahead and do this. Let me show you this. So I have the script now. All it's going to do is just log me in and then just sit and wait. But one of the nice things about being able to get a hold of the API for Chrome is that I can actually inject my own code. So after I have authenticated, my scripts then go ahead and say, okay, am I ready to go? I'm going to go ahead and inject what I'm calling a recorder API. And this allows me as a user to go ahead and add some of my own recordings. So I'm going to kind of do the same steps that I did before just so that I have everything visible. In fact, if I were to show here, you would actually see the output of what my script does. But we'll leave it like this because I'm going to show you what it can do. So when I click, you're going to actually see that there's a little icon here that stays there, and this is for when you're ready to do your documentation, your automation. When it does a screenshot, it actually captures that for you. The other thing that you can do here is if I do Command-Shift F3, I now have this window that allows me to document. So I could say, and it uses Markdown, so I can say new project. And maybe to say following steps are required to create a new project. And as you can see down here, there's several things. This is basically following the API that Chrome exposes. I'm going to do maybe add line. It'll add the line. Once it does successfully, it removes it. I want to say add a snapshot of the current screen. And then maybe I'll say, let's wait for 2,500 milliseconds. Hit that, and then I'll close. What that does behind the scenes is it actually is creating a recording macro, if you will, in JSON. and if I want to take a look at it, I can hit Control Shift F1, and that downloads it. And let's take a look at it. So you'll see here that it basically is just echoing out everything that I did. So it's saying, hey, it was focusing on a specific selector. We clicked on that selector. We then clicked on the nav tree. Somewhere in the nav tree, I did an open of our recorder tool, which it doesn't record that, obviously, because we don't want that part of the automation. I typed in the following text, and then I took a screenshot and I waited for 2.5 seconds. And by having that, then I can save this, and then that can be loaded as input for automated scripts. So you can see that again, this is just kind of following the abilities that you have already within Chrome, but I've tried to make it so that it is really easy to capture and do things. Wait for, well, you can either pass in a number, an integer that represents milliseconds, or you can pass in a selector, a CSS selector, so it'll wait for that selector to become visible. The same thing with snapshot. You can either just keep it empty and it'll take a full screen snapshot, or you can pass in a selector, CSS selector, and it'll only take a picture of that component. So it's pretty nice in and of that it'll do these things. And then there's add lines with image, add step with images, image. And that the only difference between those is when it creates documentation, does it just write the line, and take a snapshot, or does it make it like an ordered list, step 1, step 2, step 3. So hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of what I'm using to help me with automating my documentation, as well as validating that the application is working properly. This will be something that I'm already playing with in Azure as an Azure Functions to automate in the future. I definitely want to be able to have this available as a feature within FrontEnd Creator for future references. All right, well, thank you so much. I'd love to hear your feedback.